Hello and welcome back everyone, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to do Kuudra in the early game of HYPIXEL SKYBLOCK. So if you play Skyblock, you may know that Kuudra is very important. It unlocks a lot of very good armor sets, such as, for example, Aurora, Terror, and Crimson. The other two, we don't talk about those, they're kind of useless, but those are all very good armor sets that are very helpful throughout the game. Kuudra also unlocks a few other very important things, such as, for example, the Kuudra pet, which will help you all around in the Crimson Isles. But one important thing is there's very few guides on YouTube for how to actually do Kuudra in the early game, at least from what I've seen. Most of the guides that I've ever seen are for the late game, how to do Infernal Kuudra, or Hot Tier, Burning, whatever. They're all very high tier, you know, oh, you want to use your Terminator and your Hyperion and all that. They are not very early game centered. So, that's what I'm going to be teaching you today. Now, if you haven't unlocked Kuudra yet, there is a whole quest that you can follow. It's a pain on Iron Man, but if you're a normal player, now, after an update that happened a while back, you can just buy all the materials you need on the bazaar, so you should be able to get that done pretty easily. Now, by the time you finish this quest, you will already know where the Kuudra area is, but in case you don't, you're going to want to go from here. This is the start of the Nether. And you're going to want to go, you can walk, you can run, you can teleport like I am. You're going to just want to go around this big volcano, and you're going to go to the giant skull at the very back of the Nether. Now, once you're here, the level of Kuudra that you can do is going to depend on your reputation with whatever faction you chose. So, for example, you'll see I have 3,310 reputation with the Mage faction, which means the highest tier that I can do is Burning. If I wanted to do the next tier, then I would need 7,000, and after that, 12,000. You can also talk to Vulcan right here to get a few bonuses for while you're in Kuudra, or just bonuses for while you're in the Nether as a whole. Now, if you're on a normal profile, once again, you can just buy Crimson Essence, and you can make this really easy. These will help you a ton. If you're on an Iron Man, they'll be a bit harder, but you can still get them quick enough. The most important one, though, is Fresh. After that, I would recommend going for the other ones, but you definitely need at least a level or two for Fresh, because this will help you a ton. I would also recommend going for Head Start next after you finish with Fresh, just because this will give you enough tokens to pick a class as soon as it starts. Now that you know how it goes once you're here, I'm going to recommend your gear that you should use. First off, if you have not done Kuudra yet, and if you're going in with some dungeon stuff and all that, I would recommend exactly that, just your normal dungeon stuff. This is pretty good Necron armor, it's not the best, you know, no max enchants or anything, no gemstones, it's pretty alright, but it's not great. If you are a mage, then you can also use Storm. If you're a tank, which I wouldn't really recommend using in here, but any armor is going to be pretty okay, for basic or hot tier at least. You can also use Gold or whatever else you have. But you do want at least some good health and defense. For example, the first armor set I used when I got a Kuudra completion on this profile was just some normal heavy armor from the dungeons, and it was still very risky, very not good, but it definitely did work. If you're a bit lower level in dungeons, you shouldn't do this, but you could also probably use Necromancer Lord or Shadow Assassin armor. It just will be very risky, and you might die a few times. But like last night, I was doing a ton of Kuudra runs, and the dude hosting the party was in Shadow Assassin armor. It was for basic tier Kuudra. You should be fine. As for your weapons, pretty much anything will work. My main melee weapon is a Giant Cleaver. I do also have a Midas Staff and a Juju Shortbow. The main things you're really gonna need are some form of teleportation as well as healing. You are gonna want a lot of healing just in case if you do get hit. Cause the mobs in there, you can jump over them obviously if you have a God Pot, but you still want to have a backup for if you do get hit and lose a lot of health. Now, if you do have an F7 completion, then I would recommend going with a Witherscloak sword, because there will be something near the end of a Kuudra run that will potentially do a lot of damage to you, and it could help to have that extra survivability if you need it. For example, if you're at like half health, the big bomb gets dropped, you do not want to risk that. It's nice to have a shield against all damage, pretty much. Another thing you'll want are going to be Kuudra keys for whatever tier you're doing. Now, as you can see, I have hot Kuudra keys right here, so the only thing I'll be able to use them on would be hot Kuudra. For basic tier, you of course need just normal Kuudra keys. For fiery, you would need fiery keys, and so on and so forth. Now, thanks to a recent update, you can do Kuudra and then open the chests later now, which is an amazing update that should have happened from the start. So you don't need the keys anymore when you go in, but you should still have them just to be sure that you will be able to open the chests. Another thing you'll want, especially if you're on a normal profile and can just buy it, is going to be molten equipment. This has good stats anyway, and it will increase your damage resistance while fighting Kuudra. So all around, very good. Now, the last thing you'll truly need for Kuudra is some form of lava fishing rod. I'm going to use my magma rod. You can use a starter lava rod. You can use whatever lava rod you have. Now, some things that are nice to learn if you can are going to be some ender pearls. With ender pearls, I'll show you what to do with them a bit later on, but they can be helpful in the right situation. Similarly, once again, to the Withercloak sword. And finally, for your pet, pretty much anything will work. I'm going to be using a baby Yeti for some extra defense, but you can also use a pigman pet, you can use a blaze pet, you can use literally whatever good combat pet you have. That really doesn't matter until the later tiers when you start getting into, a lot stronger enemies and you need a golden dragon. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest, I've gotten a few rough runs trying to record this, so I invited a friend of mine who has a Hyperion, which is gonna make it a lot easier to explain how everything will work, and I'm gonna use Party Finder aside from that, so let's hope this goes well. Okay, I think that's gonna be good. Of course we get a combat 60 now after I invite someone to basically carry. Which also, I gotta say, big thank you to good ol' Raph here for helping with this. It's gonna be a massive help. I'm also gonna switch back to my normal armor, because survivability is important. And, yeah, very, very important. Okay, we've got all 4 people. Everyone seems to be ready. Let's frickin' go. Okay, so, I've explained a few times by now, but it's obviously going to be cut out, but once you get started, you're going to go to the perk shop, and if you did get that perk that gives you 50 tokens to start with, you're going to start with the specialist route. Now, once you start getting more tokens, you're going to want to put all of them into ballista mechanic, and then after the ballista is built, you're going to get steady hands, because that will help you later on. Now, once you get started, you're going to use the fishing rod to fish in the supplies. You pull them in, and then you right-click to start picking them up. And after they're fully picked up, hopefully Kuudra will throw you over to the supply area over here, and you just bring them to one of the red beacons. Now, if you have the right timing, you can also potentially throw an ender pearl if Kuudra doesn't pick you up before you pick up the supplies, and it will land near the area. Wait, where's the last? Oh, it's already set. Okay, so now I'm going to invest all of my tokens into Ballista Mechanic. That will help me to build it faster, and that will allow us to build this a lot easier and not have to worry about the mobs as much because it'll be done faster. I usually, at least for basic tier, would suggest getting 2 levels into that, and it will help you a lot. You will generally be able to notice a pretty solid difference in my experience. And you'll also be able to see the difference of having someone with a Hyperion. I would generally recommend trying to make sure you have at least one person with a Hyperion basically anytime you do Kuudra, because it's going to help a lot. Now that the ballista's built though, we're going to be going ahead and putting all my tokens into steady hands, and I'm going to fish up the fuel cells. Now, once we start, I'm going to wait for like halfway, and I'm going to ender pearl over, so that I don't have to slowly walk or run or jump. And as you can see, that was a perfect ender pearl. That's why we bring those along. Now, if you get good with it, and with the timing and all that, you can save time by a lot, but personally, I prefer to just run back, because then you don't have to worry about timing, you don't have to worry about, like, getting annoyingly teleported after you get thrown. So, like, for example, if you ender pearl and then get thrown, it's gonna be a really bad time, because then it's just gonna mess up your entire, setup, pretty much. You're gonna get thrown and then teleported. That's how to get discombobulated right there. And as you can see right there, after the ballista has 100% energy charge, sorry that happened so fast, you will be able to shoot the ballista. Now, when you bring the fuel cells to the ballista, you will give it 25% charge. So obviously you need 100%, and then you can shoot Kuudra and kill it for good. And also, another thing, I am going to do another run just to show you a few more things, but after the run is done, you'll have 2 chest options. You can go with the 3 chest for a bit of Crimson Essence, or the paid for chest using a Kuudra key to get various different loot. Now, a lot of the time this won't fully be worth it. Right now, especially, the Prophet is lying. Hollow Boots are not worth 6 million coins. I am going to promise you that right now. But I, once again, am going to start up another run, and we can show you a few more things. Because, yeah, that run actually had people who knew what they were doing, and it went too fast for me to even explain well. So, yeah, I'm going to explain anything that I missed in the first run. So, yeah, after we build the ballista, you'll see 0% energy charge, and we need to go ahead and fish up the things. We're going to fish up the fuel cells. And you'll see, once again, even without the steady hands perk, like, it's very, very fast. You do not really need the steady hands perk, it just makes it a bit quicker. Also, if you have a bow, or even if you just want to hit it manually, you can hit these chunks, and they will do some damage to Kuudra. You generally need to use at least one of those to make sure that the ballista will kill it, but even if not, in basic tier it generally will die either way. Like, you'll be okay. And then, yeah, you'll see the ballista was fired, you just aim at Kuudra, and it'll take a second, and then Kuudra will die. Simple as that. Now, you'll see, obviously I'm kind of just stuck with the supplies there, but they'll go away. And everything is now done. You just gotta survive this part, which is extremely easy, and then you've completed Kuudra. Now, the final thing to mention is, once again, as I said earlier, if you do miss out on the Kuudra chest, and if you get the key a bit later, you can go to Croesus or that one NPC in the Nether, and you can open the chests afterwards as long as it is within 2 days. And this goes for the 3 chest as well as the paid chest. Same thing as with dungeons. So all around, that is how to do Kuudra in the early game, and once again, if you have a good party who knows what they're doing, you can do it literally in the most basic armor possible. I could probably do Kuudra in Yogg armor if I had a good party. It's really just that simple. Kuudra is so much more about knowing what you're doing than it is about gear. At least in the early game. Not really later on. Later on you need a term and a hype and the best of the best armor and all that, but early on, it's really, really just about one person having good gear at least, and everyone else just knowing what they're doing. And finally, if you liked this video, make sure to leave a like down below, it helps out an absolute ton. If you liked this kind of content, make sure to subscribe for more, that helps out even more, and we're getting close to 2,500 subscribers, which is going to be an insane milestone. And if you have any ideas for future guides or anything else you'd like to see or that would help you in Skyblock, make sure to comment down below. Definitely helps with actually knowing what you guys would like to see. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, until next time everyone, and goodbye!